I'm going to start this off by saying if you have not pre-ordered the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive Mini, then now is the time to do it. We have finally got the release of our final 12 games on the Sega Genesis Mini Edition. My name is Elroy, this is my world. If you are tuning in for the very first time, I want to take this second just to thank you, and hopefully I can arm you with some information that's going to make you really excited about the Sega Mega Drive/Genesis Mini. Now, I am incredibly excited about this, and I want you to be too, and I don't know if you can sense or feel the excitement that's coming from me. This system is going to be epic, and I'm not going to waste your time a second longer. Let's get into the list of the final 12 games, making it 42 games on the system right now. The first game I want to talk to you about is Virtua Fighter 2. Now, it is a 2D fighting game, and this is the reason I'm going to say this as the first game is because it's quite lackluster for the first game to reveal as the last 12. It has got a superior, and when I say superior, I mean a far superior arcade port, but this will likely do if you just want to play some Virtua Fighter in a pinch. Now, the game itself was released in 1996, and that is all I think that I really need to say about Virtua Fighter 2. The next game I'll talk to you about is a puzzle game known as Columns. Not a fan of puzzle games. This one definitely looks interesting, so I won't lie when I say I probably won't play it, but if I do get bored, which doesn't seem likely with the list of games that we have on this system, then I'll give it a try. The game itself, Columns, was released in 1990. Now, the next game I'm going to talk to you about is basically Sega's response to games like Mortal Kombat. That is Eternal Champions. It's an action fighting game, 2 players, you want to fight your friends. This game has those gory endings like Mortal Kombat, but it's Sega's response. The battle truly never ends, and this game itself was released in 1995, so let's go back to that year and let's start kicking some serious tail. The next game I'm going to talk to you about is called Strider. That is a side-scrolling hack-and-slash platformer that's set in the year 2048. So if you play it this year, it's still set in the future. So definitely give that a try. Now, I just want to give you a bit of backstory on this one. Is probably one of the most interesting ones in terms of backstory for me. In this game, you play as a character named Hiryu, or Haryu, a member of a group of ninjas known as Striders, and was actually made. The game was made in relation to a manga series. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I love my manga series, I love my anime, and the fact that this game was made in relation to that makes it even more awesome and way more exciting for me to want to play. The series itself is called Strider Hiryu, so go check that out. And this game was released in 1990. Now let's get into the next one. The next one is a racing game that I first experienced on the PC. It is Road Rash 2. So if you haven't played this is one of those racing games that gets pretty on motorcycles. It is epic, it is funny, it is fun, it is not to be played with children under 5. That is my recommendation, but I'm telling you right now, if you have this game, give it a try when you get this system, and I'm telling you, you should get this system. It was released in 1993. It is a fun game. I cannot wait to play. This is probably one of my highlights at the present time. The next game is called Light Crusader. It is an action RPG game that looks, if you remember the game RuneScape, it looks sort of like that to me. I'm not really sure if that's kind of how it's played, but from the gameplay footage I've seen about it, it definitely looks like a RuneScape style game. I'm definitely going to give it a try. I'm not sure how excited I am about this one, but I'm definitely glad that I have the option to play Light Crusader. The game was released in 1995. If that was some information that you wanted, now you've got it. The next game is called Dynamite Heady. It's an action platformer. The graphics look incredible, and I've got to tell you, it is one of those 16-bit beauties. You know, when you just look back at a game and you're just like, wow, this game it's beautiful. That is one of these games. This game was released in 1994. One of those games that I think I'm just going to play for the artwork, essentially. The next game is Alicia Dragoon. Now, Alicia Dragoon was released in 1992. It's an action-adventure game where you play as a female character as a female character who has to deal with a great evil that, from the description, it kind of says that the Earth may have dealt with this once before. It kind of alludes to that. That sounds like something that I'm keen to play. I've never played these games, so I'm really keen to try these ones out. Alicia Dragoon, that's this game. Sounds interesting, seems pretty cool. I am definitely keen to try it out. The next game is an action platformer called Monster World 4. Now this, it definitely looks like one of those interesting kind of games. It's one of those 16-bit beauties with the artwork just looks, to me, it looks incredible. And here's the kicker, it's another game where the lead character is a female. Now, don't you love the fact that the 90s was a time when you could have female lead characters in video games, and, well, I mean, in movies as well, I guess. In the 80s, it was more that sort of thing. But that's not the point. In the 90s, you can have leading female characters, and it just happened. No one was like, hey, we need equality, we need more of this. It was just there, and people accepted it, and it was awesome. This is one of those scenarios where it happened, and it seems to have been awesome. The game was released in 1994 exclusively in Japan. It did see a US and European release in 2008, but think about it this way. The game did so well in Japan that it got to be released overseas in 2008. Now, that might have been about, 14 years later? But still, 14 years not too late. So definitely give Monster World 4 a try and just embrace that female lead character action. That's one of the things I'm really keen for. More games like that, more games like this. Kid Chameleon, that's the next game. Action. It's one of those kind of adventure-y sort of platformer kind of games. This is the story for you. The plot that I've read up online about this is that it's set in the VR world. When it's a VR game that develops its own AI and starts kidnapping the children that can't beat the game. That is until you, as Kid Chameleon, of course, step in to save the day. You need to defeat every single level, every single boss, and the evil Heady Metal himself, just to win and save all of those kidnapped kids. Can you do it? I definitely think you can. Now, this game was released in 1992, and look, I am very keen to try this. Now, the last two, so that's 40 games of basically we know of now. The last two are the ones that I think are pretty damn special for this system, and I will start with Darius. Darius is a shoot 'em up style game that was created by M2. That's the company that's dealing with the emulation for the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis Mini. Specifically for this system, they built this game just for the Mega Drive Mini. How crazy is that? That makes me want to play this and want to purchase this even more. Now, for collectors, this should definitely shoot that value up way more than you thought it would. Originally, when you heard about this system, the value now is increased exponentially. And that isn't even, that's before I've even announced the final game that we're going to get on this system. Now, I'm just going to start by prefacing this by saying that the game itself, when it was initially released, it was released in 1989. There were only 10 copies made, according to the mythology of this game. This one is an extremely rare game, and the fact that it is being on this system makes this a collector's dream. The game itself is called Tetris. It doesn't sound too impressive until you realize that it's one of 10 copies were only made for this system. How crazy is that? It actually makes me incredibly excited to play this system. Now, that is the final 12 games. Next week, I'm going to tell you the games that I am really, really excited to play and the ones that I'm actually looking forward to. I'm really keen for this system, but now I've got to be that guy that says, look, it has been a pleasure to bring you these announcements and tell you which games are going to be on the system. But if you haven't already, please take a second just to click on that subscribe button, click on that notification bell, and if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more kind of videos like this, then click on that like button. And as an added bonus, out of these games that I mentioned today, tell me which ones you are extremely excited to play. Like I said at the beginning, guys, my name is Elroy. This is my world. I am so glad that I have had the opportunity just to share this news with you. So thank you for visiting my channel. Thank you for being here. And thank you for letting me be excited and basically gush over the final 12 games on the Sega Mega Drive Mini. If you like what I do, I try and release gameplay videos every Saturday. I try and have one of these kind of newsy styled videos or just one of the talky sort of videos every Friday. And if there's extra news events, I generally disperse them through the week. But Friday is my main time. So if you're looking for some gameplay, Saturdays, and news, Fridays. Now, I am so glad that I had the opportunity to talk to you guys. Until the next time, and I am sure I will see you next time. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you next time.